All right. Good day, everybody. So basically what we're doing is we're trying to prep you for next week. So as you are finishing up the trig real-world problems, we're going to be doing the unit circle beginning next week. And a lot of it is special right triangles. So when we're dealing with special right triangles, we gave you today a worksheet that had a picture of both. And the one on the left's a little different. Because normally it's x root 3, and 2x. We're going to change the perspective a little bit. I'm going to start with the hypotenuse. All right? The shorter leg is half the hypotenuse. And then the longer leg is half the hypotenuse, root 3 over 2. The reason being, you'll see in a second, is the unit circle is defined by the unit. All right? Now, basically with the isosceles right, this is listed as k, and k times root 2. But at the same time, if this was a number, all right, if we switched it, I'm going to call it m instead. All right, so we don't get confused. That becomes m root 2 over 2, and that becomes m root 2 over 2. All right, and that's going to be important as we progress. The reason being is the unit circle is based upon the unit being 1. That means the radius of the circle 1. That means the hypotenuse of any right triangle we turn into will be 1. All right, so when we're looking at it, if we start with this diagram, all right, and let's say we make this 30 degrees. All right, we make this 30 degrees. Because this is the unit circle, all right, because this is the unit circle, that's 1. That means the short leg is half of that, so 1/2. And then the longer leg, the way they have it there, is root 3 over 2. All right. Now you'll notice if we start talking about trig functions, the sine, all right, is opposite over hypotenuse. Well, the hypotenuse is 1. So now it's just the opposite over 1, or just the opposite. So like the sine of this one is going to end up being 1/2. The cosine, which is the adjacent, same reason, is root 3 over 2. All right, so you're going to find when we go through it next week, the cosine is just the x-coordinate. The sine is the y-coordinate. Now, one thing we are going to have to keep in mind, so let's say we turn this into 45 degrees. So we put the triangle over there. All right. This is now 1. So these sides, as we outlined them before, are both root 2 over 2. All right. So that's 1, root 2 over 2, and root 2 over 2. All right. The other thing there's two other things we're going to keep in mind. Number one, the x-coordinate over there is negative. So for the first time, we're going to start dealing with negative values. Number two, we don't think of this as a 45-degree angle. All right, instead, we're going to have a reference angle, which we're going to think of as 135 degrees. So we're going to have obtuse angles for the very first time. All right, but again, these are things that we'll pinpoint next week. Now, we'll also, as we progress, we'll talk about fractions. All right, and their relationships to triples, and you'll see the triples here: 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13, 8. All right, what you want to do is you want to be able to identify. So, for example, if I come over here, all right, again, it's the unit circle, so this is 1. All right, and I'm going to say that this is 8 over 17. What you're going to want to start recognizing is if that's 8 over 17, 8 and 17 are part of the Pythagorean triples, what one's missing? 15. That one's always going to be 15 over 17. Now again, over there the x-coordinate is negative, so that's negative. The y-coordinate's negative, so that's negative. All right, and further exemplified by, if we do this, all right, and this is 1, and that's 40 over 41. Again, you look at your triples, all right, I see a 40 and a 41. What's missing? 9. So this is 9 over 41. All right, now, the very last thing about this, tangent. Tangent is defined as opposite over adjacent. So the opposite is 40 over 41. The adjacent is 9 over 41. So if we wrote that as a complex expression, we'd have that. Well, hopefully you would recognize that the 41s would do what to each other? Cancel out. So the tangent would equal 40 over 9. so you don't have to worry about the denominators with setting that up. All right, so we'll start that next week. Hope that brings you joy, and please stay healthy.